Wow, AEW Dynasty is in the books, and what an incredible show from AEW. Lots to unpack, lots to get into. So we better get into it. The big story coming out of the sort of countdown to Dynasty was the return to AEW of the Brick House Camille. Camille took out Willow Nightingale during the pre-show, and she did have a match. It lasted about a minute and a half, but Camille is back, and she's got her sights firmly set on Willow Nightingale's TBS Championship. I cannot wait to see Camille back properly in AEW, maybe as early as this Wednesday. She has been gone for quite some time now, and it was so great to see her. We joked a couple of weeks ago. Me and David was saying about how we saw this list online about how many of the women and how long they've been out and whatnot, and it seems like Tony Khan's seen the list and has actually started to bring them back. So we've said over the course of the last few weeks, we've obviously seen Sheeda come back as well. So it was quite funny to see, but I'm so happy that Camille is back in AEW. She's been missed. There's no doubt about it. But we'll see what happens with Camille. Probably as early as this Wednesday on Dynamite. Massive title match on Dynamite as well, which we'll get into in a minute. But also on the pre-show, Alex Windsor did defeat Marina Shafir. That was actually good little opener, actually, to be honest. That kind of kick-started the pre-show itself. Alongside Camille's match, she beat Big Ann by pinfall. Jack Perry defeated Mark Davis for the national championship. Wasn't really a surprise, to be honest with you, just because on the pre-show for a start. And although they have done changes in the pre-show before, of course, but just didn't feel like there was going to be a change. And the women's tag team championship match added late, to be fair. Divine Dominion defeated Hyan and Maya. Again, was always going to happen. It was added late for a start, and that's kind of a giveaway at that point. You can kind of tell, that things are going to be, they're not going to change the championship that early. Anyway, let's get on with the main card, shall we? And boy, oh boy, what a way to start. The Young Bucks against Takeshita and Okada. Don Callis on commentary for our sins during this as well. You couldn't have picked a better match to kick off Dynasty than this one. It was awesome. Love this match between they've got, it's stupid when you're obviously going to get a good match out of these four. The Bucks are great. Takeshi, Okada's facial expressions in matches are worth the amount of admission alone. There was a bit here when he tried a drop kick. The Young Bucks were going to do something on the outside of the ring to come in. He tried to do a drop kick. He missed, and those being him and Takeshita shook hands during this. He's just got one of those faces. It's a bit like he is the Japanese version of William Regal. He's just got when he pulls a face or even just looks funny. It is funny. During this match as well, he put on the Young Bucks jacket and he went on to the Young Bucks side of the ring. I can't remember if it was Nick. I think it might be Matt that was going to make a tag. He turned around and Okada was just like, but like you had the joking bit aside, you also had the friction between Takeshita and Okada, and during this match, you saw it in abundance. They were slapping each other during this match. They were giving each other forearms during this match as well. At some point, there was even a point when Okada looked like he was going to tap out, and Takeshita stopped the hand from coming in. Was like, no, 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 you don't tap out. And the friction in the end, Don Callis did try and help as well. He was out there gouging some of the Young Bucks' eyes at some point during this. Cup of Joe, it's early, folks. However, it was the friction between Okada and Takeshita that ultimately cost, in a way, the match. So they were going for the Meltzer driver on the outside, and initially Takeshita had held the leg, so they didn't manage to do it. But then he flicked his hair back, and then he just went and allowed the Young Bucks to hit the Meltzer driver on Kalichke Okada to pick up the victory. And the Young Bucks win. I've got to say this because I've been a little bit critical of Okada over the last year or so. Not last year or so. Maybe when he come in, I was expecting too much, and I don't know. Maybe I don't quite know. But the work that this guy is delivering is absolutely sensational. It really, really is. And I've got a tip. If I had a hat, I'll tip it to Kalichke Okada. He was hilarious in this. I don't. Are they going to get a rematch between these two? Are we going to see a rematch or not? I don't know. Um, I'm not sure. It's a weird one because if they do, does Okada then walk out onto Takeshita? It's been bubbling for some time now. We're kind of expecting it to explode at one point. Um, I don't know. I really don't know if what's if we're going to get this rematch, if we're not, what the deal is. Um, I don't know. I don't know. But we'll have to wait and see. But what an opening! What an opening uh, to Dynasty that was. Incredible action. Really was incredible. And I'm looking, I don't really care what's next between these two teams. To go at them again, I don't know. But it has been an incredible start to the show. Right. Now we move to the return to action of AEW. Is he the cornerstone yet? I'm not sure. Chris Jericho one-on-one with Ricochet during this match. And again, I mean, like Jericho may be past his prime in a lot of ways. And there was a lot of um when he was last in AEW before he left recently, there was a real thing about him being finished in there. And to be honest, myself and David have both said it as well. That Jericho was done, in our opinion. Um, However, I will obviously say that I wanted to make sure the crowd were a lot better this time than they were in Winnipeg. But going back to Jericho, it looks so much better. Granted, Ricochet done the majority of this, and you have to give Ricochet credit, and but you've got to work to your strengths, right? And they did. This match far exceeded expectations for me. I wasn't quite sure. I think I said to when we was doing the Dynamite review that I wasn't quite sure how I felt this match was going to go. My expectation levels weren't necessarily high. But by Jesus, did they deliver? And you got to credit Ricochet for this as well. You can't not say that, Ricochet done. There was a great spot in this, though, when Jericho reversed a shooting star press into a code breaker. It was unreal. And this is where I'm going back to the experience pack to Jericho. If he has matches like this, I'm all for it. I am all for it. It was an incredible match, to be honest. Way more better than I was expecting. So kudos to both Chris Jericho and Ricochet. But it was the aforementioned Ricochet that actually won this match with the Lion's Salt of all moves. It shocked me a little bit, to be honest. I was fully expecting Jericho to pick up the victory here. Um, if it was for the national, because I know Ricochet was the national champion. I know that he obviously, Jack Perry is now. or what is, has been for a week or two. Um, if he was the national championship, I was ex would have expected Ricochet to win. I didn't expect Ricochet to win this one. Well, I think I might have done it in the predictions, to be fair. It's weird. Although I didn't expect him to win, I thought he might have done. I don't know. Predictions. But a fantastic win and a great match. A real great, especially after what you were coming off of, the Young Bucks and Okada. And it gave us a different style of match as well. Kudos, absolute kudos. Great match. And then from there, we go to one crazy motherfucker, Darby Allin and Andrade El Idolo. I mean, I tell you what, I always worry when I watch a Darby Allin match because the spots that he does, and it scares me because I think if wrestling is a split second thing as it is. When you're wrestling anyone, it is a split second between perfect and disaster. And I worry every time I watch Darby that there's going to be a disaster just because of the. He always wrestles like he's got a sense of desperation, and I think Andrade even had it in this one as well. But he done a suplex on the outside, Andrade at Darby, and oh my God, I have to say, Jesus, you need to look at Andrade's gear as well. There was a huge pop from the crowd when he done that. But this was just great. Obviously Andrade was meant to do the work for MJF as part of the Don Callis family. He was there to take out Darby Allin so that he couldn't go for the championship eventually. Um, but wow, what a contest! Really, what a contest! And it was Darby Allin. He turned in the Scorpion Deathlock into a pinfall, which gets the victory. And even more interestingly enough, a show of respect between Darby and Andrade at the end. They shook hands at the end here, and I'm wondering if they're moving Andrade towards a face turn already in AEW. I'm not sure. I'm very uh, interested with this. It's an interesting one. So early, he come back in, join the Doncas family. He's always kind of been like, I suppose, I don't know, ever since he's joined him, he's kind of not necessarily agreed with Don Callis and everyone, but maybe because he's not bald. I don't know, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens, and I am very much looking forward to seeing Darby. And now, the aforementioned Darby Allin, and I mentioned a big title match, he will face the world champion this Wednesday on Dynamite. That is for sure. Dynamite, Darby Allin against, we'll get who it is in a bit, but it's where he began training for wrestling. So you kind of feel, is Darby going to win this match on Wednesday? We'll wait and see. Um, Now we go to the World Tag Team Championship match. It was Copeland and Christian versus FTR. Copeland come out looking like Edge in this, and it popped me. It popped me, really did pop me. It was storyline driven, this match. I will say that. Um, I don't know. I just feel like something was missing from it. Like the first few matches on this card have gone like A minus, A minus, A minus. This one was kind of like a B plus. It was good, but I don't know. I just felt a little bit disconnected during this at some point. I'm not quite sure why either. Like because I love all four of these guys and they're so good and they're putting on a great match. But yeah, I just felt a sense of disconnection through in some of this. I don't know. Maybe, hey, listen, it may have been, I don't know, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I just, although I was awake, maybe may have to go and rewatch it. I don't know, But yeah, didn't feel like I just felt a little bit out of it during some of this match. I mean, it was good. As I said, it was good. The match was great. It just, I don't know, something was missing. In my mind, in my opinion, something was missing that didn't elevate it enough. However, it was the Shatter Machine onto Adam Copeland and FTR reign as tag team champions continues, which I was a little bit surprised with, to be honest with you. I was expecting, especially in Canada, Copeland and Christian to walk out as world tag team champions, but obviously not. Not the case. Another interesting one. Another interesting one. Right. Now we're going to crown a new champion regardless. The TNT Championship, unfortunately, as we said this past week on Dynamite, Cole Fletcher unfortunately had to relinquish the TNT Championship due to injury. Tony Khan on the media call this week said he expects him back for All In, which is fantastic news. It's 4 months. So that's brilliant. I mean, if that is the case, fantastic. I really hope that he is back. Before that. I love Cole Fletcher. I think he's world championship material without a doubt. So the people in this match, obviously, Speedball Bailey was in there, Tommaso Ciampa and Roosh. They started it. Bandido come in, Mike Bailey come in, El Clon come in, Pac come in, Garcia come in, Bowens come in, Kevin Knight come in, Wheeler Yuta come in. Now remember, this match continues until there is a pinfall, and more people will get added. But if there's a pinfall, the match is finished and it is done. And I, you know, you could have argued that perhaps you could have saved this for a Dynamite or a Collision. Perhaps, unless you were doing like a big returner, because Buddy Matthews had tweeted about a picture of him, with he's like his AEW picture, and you were like, oh, is Buddy coming back? Is he gonna, you know? So perhaps this could have been saved for a Dynamite or a Collision. Bandido always impresses me in here. That 20 deadlift 21 plex was it's a thing of beauty. It really, really is. You need to see it. And the winner of this match really threw me. I have to be honest. I was not expecting, and I'm going to say who it is now, Kevin Knight to pick up the victory. He hit Daniel Garcia with the UFO splash for a victory. Intriguing point of this now is what about Jet Speed? What about Mike Bailey? Mike Bailey, are they going to start having a feud for this championship now? I thought Ciampa was going to win it, to be honest with you, or even Roosh, to be fair. So the winner really threw me, but it opens up so many possibilities now as to who's next, what's next, where we're going. And yeah, I'm really intrigued about this. And this is a good thing, right? A real good thing to see Kevin Knight. It was a surprising victory. Obviously, like I said, his team partner was in there as well, Mike Bailey. Interesting times for the new TNT champion Kevin Knight, and big time congratulations to him. And we'll see what's next for him and, of course, Jet Speed. In from there, I need to take a quick sip of cup of Joe. You can see the sun. Yes, we've got some sun in England. It's coming through. In the UK, very nice and early, which is always a sign of a good day with any luck. The AEW Women's World Championship was next. Thekla against Jamie Hayter. I feel as if this match we kind of knew because Jamie Hayter had just started this tag team with Alex Windsor, the Brawling Birds. I just felt that we knew that Thekla was retaining, and I'm not sure if I'm not saying AEW are struggling for opponents for Thekla because there's a plethora of talent there. But these kind of one and done, I mean, championship matches, and I don't know. I feel as if Thekla needs a story now, needs something to sink her teeth into. They're incredible athletes. Both of these are incredible, and the match itself was decent, and I enjoyed it. But I just feel you need to give Thekla some meat now, something to sort of grab onto now for a period of time. I'm not saying 6 months or so, just maybe even 3 months or a couple of months, just something. I'm not saying I don't mean this disrespectful to Jamie Hayter. A credible threat, someone that can come in and you'd think actually, because I looked at this match and even knowing that Hayter was already with Windsor, I don't think I think everybody else kind of thought, well, she's never going to win this match. So someone that can come in, step up to Thekla, and you can go, oh, okay, this may be where the change happens, right? That's what I'm thinking. Because look, Thekla obviously won, slightly controversially, but Thekla did win on this match. She reversed Jamie Hayter's pinfall into a pinfall on her own and used a rope. So you could argue that there is a rematch in this, but I just think right now we need something more for Thekla. Not just these, I'm not saying random challenges, but like I said, something for her now to really sink her teeth into for a month or two, just a credible threat that gets everyone thinking, oh, Thekla's time as champion may well be done. Is Mercedes Moné coming back soon? I don't know. But something like that, I mean, if she comes back, maybe she wins it. But you get where I'm coming from, I hope, on this. Just something where you see it and go, oh, okay, this could change. Anyway, a grudge match now. Mox, Will Ospreay. Obviously building since Forbidden Door last year when they took Ospreay out. Ospreay went and got neck surgery. He come back. He obviously had the United Empire this week, last week, sorry, on Dynamite. Do you know what? This is going to be pretty, maybe a bit controversial, but I enjoyed the build up actually a little bit more than I enjoyed this match. I know people may look at me and go, "What are you talking about?" But like Mossbury started strong. He landed back to back hidden blades early in the early going, but was Osprey too desperate in this to do damage to Mox rather than get the pinfall on the 1, 2, 3? Potentially. Oxbray. Oh, that is tremendous. I need to write that down for later on when I speak to David. Oxbray. Unbelievable. That is top tier from me, guys. Top tier. There was a bit where Moxley drilled Osprey with the power drivers, two power drivers, DDT, bang. He kicked out. But I believe that Osprey not going for the win allowed Moxley to kind of tear apart Osprey in many ways here, and he did it, drove him into the steel steps. He done a power driver on the outside as well, um, and it was the Death Rider DDT eventually. Although Osprey did kick out of one and two of those, it was eventually the Death Rider DDT that Osprey succumbed to. But yeah, I just felt that something was missing. Not missing. Sorry, I just felt that I had done. I just felt that the build-up was better than the match. I'll leave it there. But the match itself was still great, by the way. But again, I was when you look at the build-up, did it quite hit? I don't know. Me personally, no. I felt the build-up was better. People will out there maybe totally disagreement, and you're absolutely fine to do so. But it's just my opinion. Um, right. So we go back to now the conglomeration, who Roderick Strong, Orange Cassidy, and somebody um, against the Dogs. Now, this was quite funny. The entrance at the start was Roderick Strong. They had like furniture, door, and a door. And the door knocks. Roderick Strong tells Cassidy to stop being lazy. The door knocks. Strong asks, "Who's there?" And out comes the returning Kyle O'Reilly. See, this is what I'm saying about AEW. You reel off all of these great names, and then a name like Kyle O'Reilly returns, and you're like, "Sheesh, where are we going to find? Where are we going to fit him in?" to this. This was a great thing. I do quite funny that so you got these props, you got the sofa and the door on the entrance when the dogs come out. David Finlay destroys the door and Clark Connors and Gabe Kidd hump the sofa. Yes, chaps. Oh yes, gang. Yes, team. Yes. Humped the sofa. Now, um, something serious unfortunately happened during this match. Now, and on a side note, this was for the World Trios Championship because the Dogs won the World Trios Championship on Collision. I would say a day ago, but I think it was recorded on the Wednesday night or the Thursday. So they won the championships, Trio Championships on the Collision. However, unfortunately, during this match, Gabe Kidd suffered some form of injury on his wrist, and he left the match. We're not quite sure. He done a dive to the outside, and it looked like he may have messed his hand or wrist up in the process. He had to be taken back by the Doc Sampson, the crew. It might have been his shoulder. We're not quite sure. Conflicting reports at time of this going out anyway. Um, However, that injury, I think, caused an audible to be called during this match because the conglomeration, excuse me, did win. Kyle O'Reilly forced Clark Connors to tap to the ankle lock, but this obviously threw everything out the window during this. And I don't know. As I said, at the time of this recording, which is we're looking at 6:45 a.m. I don't know the status. I haven't. I don't. So just as a slight aside, unless I'm unless it's like UK, like unless AEW or WWE or whatever is on early in UK time, I don't have my phone when I watch these. When I watch this, I leave my phone away and I watch. If it's on at like 7, 8 o'clock, I'll be texting David or Michael or Fiona or someone else from the team. But because it's on at that silly o'clock and I know the guys ain't watching it, I don't have my phone. So at this moment in time, I don't know the status of the injury, and I haven't looked. My phone is here now, but I haven't looked on social media since. So I don't know the end, but I have a feeling that that has gone in. That has been the big reason why the title changes happened because the Dogs technically held the championships for a day. If you think Collision's on a Saturday, so it's a bit of a shame. I really hope, but I don't know the status. I don't know. I haven't seen the press conference after the show, or if there was one. So I don't know the status of Gabe Kidd. But I do hope that Gabe Kidd is okay and it's not as serious because again, the injury jinx with AEW seems to always they get a few back and then they lose another and it's just a real shame. But anyway, and it did hurt this match. It really, really did. But congratulations to the conglomeration. Always good to see Kyle O'Reilly back in the fold as well. Whew, we're getting there. Main event time for Dynasty. MJF Kenny Omega, excuse me, AEW World Heavyweight Championship match. Love the entrances. MJF like needed help walking up the ramp for some reason, but he shoved a security guard out of the way. And then he has a chair in place and he sits up, throws up the horns and raises the world championship. Brilliant. Anyway, he needed help at the end. I've just given away everything because I've just looked at my notes and I've told you everything that happened after. Oh, the match. Fucking give me strength, guys. Give me strength. Look, this was the greatest main event in all Elite Wrestling history. You can come at me as much as you want. This was 1,000,000% the greatest main event in AEW history in their short space of time. MJF and Kenny Omega delivered an incredible contest. Absolutely incredible. One winged angels. There was everything. It fought to the outside. Ref bumps. It had absolutely everything in this match. Kudos to Kenny. You know, we know he's got diverticulitis, a bit like Brock Lesnar, but we know the seriousness of that injury. And Kenny Omega has proven time and time again that he is the best bout machine. And he absolutely delivered in this match. It was sensational, absolutely sensational. And I have to, tip my hat to both of these guys. I can't think of any superlatives enough for these two guys. They left it all in there, and it was absolutely amazing. It really, really was. I know I've given away the fact that MJF won. He did win. He used a Dynamite Diamond ring, which the referee did take off him earlier on in the match, but he had a ref bump. The Dynamite Diamond ring, he used to punch Kenny Omega in the stomach, diverticulitis, hit the tombstone off of the apron through a table, and then hit the Heat Seeker for the victory. And then he struggled to get up. I mean, this match went 40 minutes, guys. This was a 40-minute match. And hence why I'm saying that he needed help walking out the ramp and whatnot. And he sat on his throne, raised the belt, yada, yada, yada. Um, Absolutely brilliant. Chef's kiss main event for AEW. Like I said, in my opinion, the best AEW main event since the company started. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic, and oof, I struggle to beat it. AEW knock pay-per-views out the park. To be honest with you, they've been knocking everything out the park for the last 12 to 18 months, but this was a prime example of what you can do. I mean, Omega hit an avalanche, one-winged angel in this match as well. It was, he was like he was unloading with like, we know that the punches and that are a little bit thingy, but he was, you look at that match, he was crazy. Um, what I liked about this though, he was like when he returned to his throne, he descended down like he was a devil going down into the, hell. My God, I'm just, I need to get my breath back. I need to sleep would be nice, but I've got interviews today, so that ain't happening. So, what a great dynamite. Fuck. You can see, folks, it's early and I haven't hardly slept. What a great dynasty. AEW knocking everything out the park. I'm looking forward to Wednesday already. I hope you are too. We're going to have so much coming up on the show this week. So many interviews dropping, the usual review shows. HTT buckle everywhere, folks. I'm going to go for a lie down. See you later on. But until then, everybody, stay elite, stay safe, and goodbye.